Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Fuels My Fire, the podcast. I'm your host, Lorena Camille. Today is a very special episode because, drum roll please, we have officially hit episode number 50. Why is episode number 50 so big? Well, we're coming up on the first anniversary of this podcast. It's officially almost been 1 whole year since I first started this podcast. I've hit a huge milestone of downloads for this podcast, and to celebrate my 1 year anniversary with this podcast, it's giveaway time. So starting today, which it's October 27th, and ending on November 11th, which is officially when my 1 year mark is, the giveaway will be going on, and you can enter every single day. So in order to enter the giveaway, head over to iTunes, write a review on this podcast, Faith Fuels My Fire, the podcast, take a screenshot of your written review, head over to Instagram and post on your Instagram stories the screenshot of that written review for this podcast and tag me at _Lorena Camille _. That's my Instagram handle. Tag me and I will get you entered in. For additional entries throughout the next 2 weeks, you can go every single day and snap a screenshot from one of my episodes on this podcast and post it in your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag me at _Lorena Camille _ for an additional entry, and you can do that every day up until November the 11th. On November the 12th, I will be announcing the winner for the giveaway, which you can also check my Instagram stories periodically in the next 2 weeks, and I'll give you more on exactly what the prize is for the giveaway, but I'm telling you guys, you're not going to want to miss out on it. But I will be announcing the winner on my Facebook group called Faith Fuels My Fire on November the 12th, which will be on that Thursday. So make sure if you're not already in that group, go request to be added in the group. It's called Faith Fuels My Fire. You can search it in the search bar on Facebook, or you can go to the link in the show notes here. I'll have it linked down below. Make sure you request to be added in that group and turn your notifications on in that group so you make sure you get notified whenever I go live on Thursday, November 12th to announce the winner for the giveaway. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into this episode. So in light of my 1 year anniversary and it being the 50th episode of this podcast, you guys, first of all, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to every single person listening to this, to all of the love and support and just everything. Y'all are amazing and I love you guys so much, and I couldn't do this without you guys and without God. He is number one, and I'm just so thankful and grateful for all of this. So I'm going to go into 7 things that I have learned within my first year of podcasting, what this podcast has taught me, and all of the things. So if you have thought about doing podcasting, maybe you're a new podcaster, whatever the case may be, I'm going to share with you guys some things that I've learned throughout my first year of podcasting. So number 1, none of this would be possible without God. Literally none of it. I wouldn't even be doing this podcast if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for Him calling me to do it. And He's been guiding me every step of the way and pushing me back in the right direction. All the credit goes to God on this. My inspiration for my podcast, like literally every bit of it goes to God. I would not be able to do any of this without Him. And so that's why this is the first and most important thing that I've learned throughout this year of my podcast is none of this would be possible without God, and He has been the core of this whole podcast. Number 2, my idea for this podcast when I first started has changed so much from what it actually is now. So whenever I first started this podcast, I was an entrepreneur and I was wanting to do business tips for Christian entrepreneurs. I wanted to throw some faith-based in there and also mindset tips, mental health, and all of that. But a lot of the content that I was doing at the beginning was based on being an entrepreneur and organization and goals and just all of these different things. Now it's all about Bible study and discerning the truth and the truth of God's words and Jesus Christ and being His disciples and all of that. So this just goes to show that whenever you put your trust in God and you let Him guide you in every step of the way, that He will bring you to places you never imagined being. I never thought I would be doing Bible studies ever in a million years. I never thought that. I never thought that this podcast would be what it has become, but it's so amazing that it's become this, and I'm so grateful for it. But this is just a thing. If you're starting podcasting or if you're a new podcaster, the idea that you have of how your podcast is going to be right now more than likely is not going to be that way in a year. And the most important thing, and the thing that's crucial for your growth and to be able to enter the full potential of your calling, is to have guidance from Christ in every situation, every aspect of the journey of podcasting. You have to seek guidance through Christ, and He will lead you to exactly where you need to be. Number 3, what I thought others wanted to hear was not actually what they wanted to hear. So, whenever I first started doing my podcast, I was doing a lot about social media and branding on social media, how to brand yourself on Facebook and how to build a brand and all of that, because that's actually what I had a course on back then. And I had built this successful brand with my network marketing businesses and all of that. Not going to get into all of it, but that's what I was putting on there. And I quickly realized that people didn't want to hear that from me. And that's not what God called me to let other people know. And that's not how God called me to make an impact in other people's lives. And the more I started listening to my audiences and doing polls on Instagram and really just asking questions and looking at my stats and trying to figure out exactly what people wanted to hear from me, the more it started getting clear. And I've been able to create content specifically for my people, for you guys, to be able to make an impact in your life and help you discern the truth of God's words and teach you guys the Bible and about Jesus Christ and becoming His disciples and all of that. So that's something that I've learned, and that's something to take into consideration if you want to start a podcast or if you're a new podcaster. A lot of the stuff that you think others want to hear is not actually what they want to hear. So you want to make sure that you're asking questions to your audience and you're paying attention to the episodes that are getting the most downloads and all of that to make sure that you're giving the best content and the content that people actually want to listen to. Number 4, making an impact in one person's life through this podcast is more important and rewarding to me than 1,000 downloads on this podcast. Whenever I first started with this podcast, I really didn't know what was going to happen, what it was going to become, any of that. I just knew that God called me to do it, so I wanted to stay faithful to that calling. And throughout the first few months of this podcast, I was really focused on the number of downloads and how I could reach more people and grow my audience to be able to make an impact in this world. And I realized throughout this last year of podcasting that the joy of making an impact in one person's life, having one person DM me on Instagram or message me on Facebook and let me know that I made an impact in their life, or I helped them through discerning the truth of God's words, or with Bible study, or any of that. The joy of one person being impacted by this podcast is so much more rewarding than 1,000 downloads. And that just goes to show that downloads are just numbers. And yes, it does help to know exactly how many people are watching so you can grow your audience to be able to make more of an impact in this world. But I've learned that the most important thing is focusing on making an impact in at least one person's life and letting that be enough. If you only have one person that you impact through your podcast, it's enough. It's more than 1,000 downloads. It is enough. And that's something that I've learned throughout this year of podcasting. Not to focus so much on the number of downloads, but to focus on making an impact in at least one person's life and letting that be enough. Number 5, sometimes the best podcast episodes are the ones that are impromptu, and I don't have to be perfect to record episodes. When I first started with this podcast, I was so worried about making sure I had the right microphone and the right equipment for the best podcast episodes and to have them crystal clear and all of this stuff. And then I realized that I am an imperfect human being that makes mistakes, and I'm not always going to have crystal clear audio. There's times where my audio is very staticky, or there may be background noise. And that's okay because people still listen to it. And sometimes that's the best downloaded episodes, is ones that are just very janky. I don't have an intro, a normal intro that people would do with music, because I honestly don't like listening to those. Whenever I listen to a podcast, I usually skip over that part. So that's why I don't do that. If you ever wondered, that's why I don't do it. But I've learned that it's okay to be messy, and I don't have to be perfect to record podcast episodes. I just have to hit record and record what's on my mind, record the Bible studies, record things to make an impact in other people's lives. And a lot of times, when I don't know what to say or I've just run out of creative juices, I pray to God and ask for guidance and direction and knowledge and understanding to be able to make an impact in other people's lives. I hit that record button and I just randomly come up with a podcast episode that ends up having more downloads than any other one that I actually planned and took a lot of time to plan out. So that just goes to show that a lot of the times, if you just put your trust in God and pray and seek guidance and direction from Him and knowledge and understanding from Him, that you can come up with great content. And that's what happens a lot of times to me. There's times where I'm like, man, I feel like I've done everything. I know there's so many more things I can do, but I feel like I've done a lot. And so I'll just pull out my laptop, pray to God, and then the words just come to me. And sometimes those are the best downloaded episodes. Number 6, there is no one else like me. And it's okay to be unapologetically me. I'm my own person. I'm Lorena Camille. And whenever I first started this podcast, I was doing so much research on other podcasters and trying to be like them, be like other Christian entrepreneurs, and, the different things that they were talking about. That's what I wanted to talk about, and just trying to figure out how I could imitate their success or how they were portrayed. And I quickly realized that no one's like me, and that's my secret weapon. I can be unapologetically me and tell my stories and be raw and emotional. I mean, there's several times where I've cried on this podcast because I'm just an emotional basket case, and that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes I laugh whenever I really shouldn't be laughing. I mean, I honestly just am super raw with you guys, and I give you guys all of me and let you guys know about my life, and I don't have to filter it or try to portray myself in any other way other than just me and who I am. And it's so freeing and liberating to just be me and to cut all the bullcrap and not worry about that, because I am unapologetically me. And number 7, prayer is a crucial part of this whole journey with podcasting. And I intentionally put this as number 7 because this whole podcasting journey, everything that I've done in this past year, it all starts and ends with God. And that's why number 1 was it wouldn't be possible without God. And number 7 is prayer is a crucial part of this whole journey, because I'm constantly praying and seeking for guidance and knowledge and understanding from God to be able to make an impact in you guys' lives. Every time before I record a podcast episode, I always pray and ask for guidance and knowledge and understanding from God to be able to make an impact. And I also pray before every time I study my Bible. Anytime I'm coming up with new content, I'm always constantly praying and seeking guidance and knowledge and understanding from the Lord. And that is a very crucial part of this whole journey of podcasting. And throughout this whole year, prayer has been super crucial throughout my spiritual growth and discerning the truth and knowing the truth of God's words. So those are 7 things that podcasting has taught me throughout this past year. There's so many more things that I've learned, but I just wanted to stick with 7 for you guys. So I hope if you're a new podcaster, If you maybe want to start a podcast, or if you just want to know about the things that I've learned, I hope this was valuable to you guys. Before I let you go, I wanted to say a quick prayer, so if you would please just close your eyes and pray with me. Lord, I pray that you lift up every single person listening to this right now. Lord, I pray that you just wrap your arms around them and show them so much love. I pray that they come to you for guidance and support and knowledge and understanding to be able to make an impact in other people's lives and to be able to spread your word and the truth of your words. And I pray that you just guide them through every aspect of their life and that they just lean on you through every situation that they're going through. I love you so much, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys so much. I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.